Dear Professor and mates, I'm Kate from Brazil, and I'm glad to share my insights about Brazil's security public policy. Brazil is a country of friendly people with natural resources and paradisiacal scenarios, but without economy and social stability. Therefore, nothing more practical than reflecting on how to improve economy and social stability in Brazil. According to the Friend Institute, the top 5 issues in Brazil are security, health, poverty, corruption, and education. The higher priority issue is security, where Brazil is ranked in the 7th worst global position. According to the Ipsos Institute, the critical issue, public security, strongly impacts the 4 key development Brazilian objectives, such as economic, social, sustainable, and environmental developments. Using failure and effect analysis method for those economic, social, sustainable, and environmental development goals, many governance issues were identified in Brazil for security, health, corruption, and poverty, such as impunity, police weak laws, drug control, education, violence, and inequality. However, to narrow down the analysis, the violence and inequality policies are being selected because, according to the Friend Institute, violence and inequality are the main critical factors for economic and social development in Brazil. In August 2022, the Friend Ipsos Institute published the report What Worries the World, where Brazil is ranked number 1 in inequality and as the 7th worst most violent country in the world, according to the public opinion. Using PESTLE to analyze violence and inequality in a comprehensive way for politics, economic, social, technological, environment, and legal aspects, 20 public policies factors were identified, such lack of human resource, equipment, infrastructure, and legal requirements. And to narrow down again, according to the Brazilian University report, police force and security system are critical to the economic and social stability. Starting by violence analysis, in Brazil, 63,000 people are murdered every year. It's twice the death during the Syrian war. The United Nations recommends 1 police officer per 250 residents. However, in states such Maranhão, northeast of Brazil, we have 1 policeman per each 881 people, which means that 1/3 of population are not covered by security system. Furthermore, 10 out of 30 most violent cities in the world are Brazilian. According to the qualitative research by the Brazilian Igarapé Institute and using person correlation between inequality and violence, violence has p-value greater than 0.775, therefore considered the most critical factor of security public policy. So, narrowing down for the 3rd time, we got the final question: how to improve public security, reducing the violence in Brazil? The first step is to carry out a top-down reform of the judicial and security system, ending impunity, laws that benefit criminals, including the death penalty in the federal constitution for renal crimes. The ministers of the Brazilian systems can no longer be chosen out of friendship with the presidents, but by sophisticated analysis that considers not only academic exams, but moral, ethical, intellectual history, and other factors, such as emotional intelligence. Brazil must increase the investment on police force, tripling the number of ostensive police officers, and approve the establishment of a public security unified system to share information, data, and promote AI crimes predictions and coordination actions against violence, corruption, and drugs. Discussing urban violence also requires look at social inequality, which is one of the foundations on which criminality is sustained. Therefore, besides a medium and long-term plan, actions must be taken such as implement a reform on security public policy, unifying the three forces, implement death penalty against drug dealers and corruptors, promote revitalization of poor areas and stimulate their entrepreneurship through technical trainings. In long term, 10 years, promote the industrialization, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, and urbanization. My hypothesis is that after the implementation of the reforms against violence, Brazil can gain around 20,000 new business with industrial development. Safety can increase the commercial and technological trades between countries, make possible grow GDP to 12%. Especially in old risk areas, education can be improved without drug dealers' influence, creating better citizens 20 years later. Safety, according to USP study, USP is a top university in Brazil, also can increase the Brazilian tourism economic growth by 31% through urban transformation, where old risk areas become parks, residential, or tourist villages. As future study, it's possible to apply quantitative analysis based on governmental data, such moving average and multiple regression to quantitatively predict those positive impacts. Here find my reference. That's all. Thanks for your kind attention.